Alright, welcome back to the HANS video series. Right now I'm going to be making a little custom pigtail, I guess, for all of the two sensor modules that we've got that are external. So this is one of the cables that we made earlier. It's just a standard RJ12 cable. Pin 1 is striped green, then striped orange is pin 2. 3 and 4, both ground, are the two blue ones. 5 is our analog voltage in to our ADC on the CC3200, and then green is just to a GPIO on the CC3200. So what this guy does, this is our little PIR passive infrared motion sensor. What it does is it has a little sensor inside of here. This is just like a lens to see things. And what it does, it's almost like a 1 pixel camera. So what it does is it takes an image of like one little time second, and then it'll compare it to the next one and see if there's been any change. If somebody's walked across the room, or if there's been a big enough heat event, this will trigger. And what it'll do is it'll just trigger high or low on, if you look at the bottom of the sky. So there's a ground, a VCC, NC is for no connect, and then D1. So yellow is our signal line. So what we're going to do, step 1 is cut this little pigtail off because we're not using it. We're going to pull these wires apart a little bit, like so. So yellow is our signal line for digital. So that's going to go to the screen. Digital in. The orange, that's going to be our analog in. Make that a big I. So we don't need this white wire because that was no connect, so I'm going to cut it off down here. And then on this moisture sensor, water sensor, what this is designed to do is it's designed to either stick into soil or into like a cup of water. And what happens is, when it's disconnected like this, you get 0 volts back on the signal line, which is, again, signal is yellow. So we'll cut that one off the same way. It's really quick. So that's yellow. Kind of pull these apart. Now I'll snip off this white one. Burp. So now we kind of prep that one too. And then, so what it does is it gets voltage and ground into here, and it compares the resistance between one paddle and the other paddle. So if it's stripped into water, or even if you put your hand across it, it can measure the resistance across your hand, like through the sweat in your hand, through you, back through the sweat in your hand to the other one, and then it puts that out as analog voltage, kind of amplifies it, and puts it out through the signal wire. So this guy here. And then on the CC3200 it picks up that voltage and says, how deep are you into water? Somewhere between 0 volts and 3.3 volts. Unfortunately, the CC3200 can't handle 3.3 volts on its analog to digital converter, so we have a little voltage divider. So what the voltage divider does is it cuts the voltage right in half. So the highest you ever see is was 3.3 divided by 2, so about 1.65 volts. So that's fine for the ADC, analog digital converter on the CC3200, so you can use it. So we'll crack on. Let me just grab some quick wire strippers. So what we'll do is put this through one of these holes, whichever one fits, and strip the wire off of each of these. We're going to do this in real time so you can see how long it actually takes. It doesn't take long, it just needs to be done. Got that one a little close. What I'm actually going to do is the old school way. So you can put a little crimp in the wire, just pull it right off. There's There's one. There's two. That's all those three. There we go, and that's those three. And then on this, we'll do it the same way. So this is already down to, here's the 6 wires that we can see here, all the different colored wires. We're going to take a little bit off these guys too. Alright, so there's all there, those. I'll spread these out a little bit. And then I've got a hot soldering iron already. So both S orange and S green, both of these are 3.3 volts in. And then blue and S blue, stripy blue, are both ground. So, of course, the black is ground on all these. If you don't believe me, you can check. Ground is that pin, and that's black. So let's have a look at, let's do the grounds first, just for kicks. So you can do what they call a, let's see, it's a Western Union splice. The idea, let me get a tiny little pliers here, so you can bend this back on itself so it forms a little loop like that, and then we can take our ground line and loop it back over like so, so that they're kind of holding hands like that, and then we're going to pinch the copper one closed and then curl this around so that they're both kind of holding on to each other and the wires are crimped. So what it does is it forms a mechanical connection between the two wires, and then what we're going to do is on top of that mechanical connection, we're actually going to solder that really quick. And we'll make sure we have a nice clean tip. A little solder on the tip to make sure it's nice and clean. Solder on the tip, and then solder into the joint. There we go. Put that away. You can see it's still cooling off, and we've got a nice bright solder joint, and what that did was, now that's all one wire. There's a mechanical connection inside the wire, and so that solder joint is now the strongest part of that entire wire. So all we'd have to do is cover it in some heat shrink or tape or something like that, and it'll be nice and strong. I don't have any heat shrink on me today, so I can't show that to you. But all you do is put a sleeve of heat shrink on and then heat it with a heating gun. So I am going to do the rest of these connections just so that they're done, and we'll do those really quick. They won't take long. So again, we'll do another Western Union splice. So this is a voltage. So we'll put that to, say, stripy green. Make a little U. Put that baby on. Pinch it closed. Turn it around. I have a look at that. Usually you can do a lot of this stuff with your fingers. And then we'll put a little bit of hot solder on there. Tin the tip, clean the tip, tin the tip again, and then make your solder joint. There we go. There's another one down. See, it's cooling. It's kind of like hot glue, but made of metal. And then our signal. So this is our passive infrared, so we want the digital in. So let's do that one to solid green. Pull those other ones out of the way. Put a unit. Now I'm gonna go fast. Sometimes it helps if you have these kind of braided lines to kind of spin it a little bit with your fingers. That way it acts like it's one big line, one big wire. It helps. Pinch that closed. And then spin that around. So you have a nice mechanical Western Union splice. Alright, tin the tip, clean the tip, tin it again, and go for a connection. Done. There's one more done. Let's do this moisture sensor next. Alright, let's go for another blue. We'll go stripy blue this time on the ground. I'm actually going to pre-spin these so they're just nice and tight. There we go. I'm going to pre-bend these as well. You can do this with your fingers too. I just don't want to today. There we go. Nice spin around for that Western Union effect. Alright, and then red is our voltage. That's going to go to either stripy green or stripy orange. Looks like we have stripy orange right here, so I'm going to do that one right quick. Pinch it. Needs a little bit of extra help. Spin around. And then the last one has got to be our ground. Double check. Or actually not ground, that's signal in. So it's our analog in is orange. This is our signal line, it's going to orange. That worked out. Solder on each one of these. And again, same solder as I've been using this whole time. It's activity solder. Tin is SN 0.3. AG is silver 0.7, and then the rest of it's copper. And this was 100 grams of it. It's 0.6 millimeters, so it's pretty fine stuff. But I bought it on Amazon. It's pretty cheap, but it's really good stuff. Especially if you're doing low temperature. So I'm only using 391 Celsius. I like to solder pretty fast, so it works really well. So tin the tip, clean the tip, tin it again, and then go for a joint. Kind of work the bubble a little bit. And there you go. Sometimes if you go fast, you don't have to clean every time. Because it's a video, I like to clean every time. So here we go. We'll go crazy. There we go. Didn't clean that second one. That still turned out okay. Alright, so now we've made a custom harness that takes our RJ12 6-pin, 6-conductor wire, and we've connected that to a moisture sensor as well as our passive infrared sensor. And here's all the connections and all the colors. And that concludes this video.